Okay, let's try this again. What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another stream, another episode. Of course, I got two of my guys back there ready to rock and roll, jazz, do jumping jacks, whatever you want to call it. Before we get into it, please do me a favor, hit the like, share, and subscribe. As always, the support is appreciated. So let's get him in here because he's jumping up and down and he's going to do a kamahama as we're talking. All right, let's get the next person in here. He is Obi-Wan Kenobi himself. He likes saying,
Hello there.
and also, let me get, I'm
Hello
not done
there.
with you. I'm not done with you. I also, all right, good. Shut the fuck up. So we got our guys back in here. Of course, Elva has been around for a while. He was hibernating, so he's finally back out of hibernation. So, David, I'll come at you last. Rob, what is going on, my man? How are you been?
Oh, good. You?
Surviving, like with this very cold goddamn fucking winter.
Yeah.
It's cold.
This winter that the snow that North Carolina was supposed to get, and then yeah, my area just didn't get any. We got not even dusting. So kids upset.
Yeah, I hate you right now. Black David, get your ass in here. Say hi to the folks.
I'm here. We in what they call we come from Brooklyn the cuddle season. When you don't go for the skinny chick, go for the big chick. I got no big chick to cuddle up, so I'm sorry. No, Peter have any. So sorry too.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Hey, you
I
had it
can't even
coming.
take you serious. All right, guys. So, really fast, before we get too far into it, Voltron. Voltron is a series from 80s, I'm not mistaken. And it's something that I grew up. I think almost most people of us grew up on it. It was a series of 5 lions turned into a big ass fucking robot, a mecha, and kick some, demons, some aliens' butt. Pretty much the concept of it. But that's not all. They also had a 3D version that it was horrible to watch. It just remembering it makes my eyes bleed right now thinking about Voltron 3D. But then there came a reboot on Netflix that some people loved it, some people really hated it. So, or I already see Angry Elf is getting emotional at this point. I think he needs to go first. Let's has his open monologue.
Oh man, Voltron. Well, first of all, I mean, obviously, I'm a fan. I got the shirt on, right? Dude, Voltron. When you mentioned this, all I could think about was back in the 80s, being a kid, probably about 7 or 8, sitting there watching this show Monday through Friday. I think it was on in the morning for me, but it was just this was my show. And then the one Christmas, I don't know, maybe I was 8. My parents gave me the Matchbox Voltron diecast, which I have right here, a reproduction from Treadmasters that came out in the 90s. But this is the Voltron that I played with for a while, and then eventually it disappeared. But then in the 90s, I got another one, and I've had this since, well, probably about 95, 96. So, but yeah, Voltron, no doubt. No doubt. You know, form Voltron, form feet and head, or whatever it was, feet and legs, form arms and body, and I'll form the head. Hell yes. Let's do it. Go Voltron Force.
Hey, how you doing? Well, I grew up on Voltron, but there's a lot to talk about Voltron because, for one, I thought Voltron was actually a cartoon, not real. I was actually a Japanese animated series, was being deceiving to come out looking like a cartoon, which is very interesting. Because when we have the discussion, you be surprised what you find about Voltron. But I love the Voltron series, even though there are two versions. We have the Lion and the vehicle version, but the Lion was more iconic for what it is. The toy sale was ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. Back then, we have the five lion, and we have it in mint condition. If you were to sell those things now, you can get a couple of thousand or maybe more. Because it's hard to find the original merchandise based on the material. It was like cast. Was it cast iron? I'm not sure, but it was a solid, heavy toy for real. That I can tell you. But the series was great. I felt like it could have gone further, even though they brought it back out again. There was different other version they did some variation whereby it trying to make it hip. I couldn't understand that concept whatsoever. It would throw me off. The final one they had on Netflix, I'm not gonna go too further in, but it's a childhood thing. Believe me, there's a lot we can say on this one right now. But other than that, it's one of my favorite childhood cartoons to watch. Slash the anime. We're going into depth of it. That could be my something for an introduction.
So there are actually
Actually,
several series of this. We have
oh yeah.
the Defenders, Legend of Defenders. That's the original series with the
Hmm.
five cats. Then we
Hmm.
have Voltron Force that came out from 2011 to 2012, only 1 year season. Um, I kind of have mixed feelings behind that one. It wasn't as bad as people made it sound it is.
No, 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 no. You missed something. There were the Voltron line, Voltron
Yes,
Dependent Universe.
I'm
There
getting
were
there.
Voltron Vehicle, or Vehicle Force Voltron.
Yep.
There's the third dimension that came out in 1998.
Yeah, that was the next one I was going
Yep.
to mention. I was
That's
not even going in
1998.
specific order. I was just
I know.
so the vehicle one. I don't remember watching it, to be honest with you. I don't even remember
I
it.
do.
I did.
I've got.
But you're a
I
fucking old
in
too.
fact, I've got all
Not
both
you,
the
him.
Line Force and the Vehicle Force on DVD, plus the movie called something of Doom,
Yeah,
where
they have both joint
both
forces.
Voltrons come together to defeat the bad guys. Yes. Oh
Yeah, I
yes.
saw that too.
Yep.
That
So
actually
okay,
happened.
so Robert, I assume you're a little bit more a expert of this, the vehicle one. Between the lions and the vehicle, what is your outtake out of that?
Well, first of all, I am Lion Force, Voltron, Lion Force all the way. I mean, the Vehicle Force, it existed, and I'll acknowledge it, but um, I mean, it was first of all, both of these shows were Japanese animes that got repurposed, purchased by what is it, World something? I forget the company, but anyways, it might be on my shirt. Actually, it is on my shirt. World Events was the company that purchased the anime. I remember it was Go Lion from Japan. That was Voltron, the Lion's Force. But yeah, they repurposed it. They cleaned it up because it was apparently it was fairly
Beast King
violent.
Go Lion. Beast King Go Lion. That was the actual
Yep,
name.
there you go. Yep, and but yeah, and God, I loved it. I every aspect of the original '80s Voltron, the Lion Force, loved it. Watched every episode. Watched them multiple times. Yes, yes. The vehicle stuff, it was, from my understanding from the story narrative, it was the humans created their version of Voltron. They were explorers, and it was it 5 teams of 5? No, maybe I think it's 3 teams of 5. 4 teams of 5? Okay. Anyways, they would, yeah,
Three.
4 teams of 5 because they would form
No,
the
three team of
legs.
five. The air,
Oh, 3 teams of 5.
the sea, and there's land.
There you go.
Three team,
Okay,
three team of five.
absolutely. And but they would, it was, so it was 15 little mini crafts. They would come together, and then they could create their own little air or land or sea group. And then when they came all together, all 15 of them, they formed their version of Voltron.
So how
And
many were
you
there?
look
Like
at the
25 pilots?
Yeah,
it was
they
it was
did.
Holy
It
shit!
was a
but
huge.
originally the one, two, three, the first four pilot of the Voltron line pilot were the original part of the Earth Alliance. They flew
Yes.
Oriole over to help to resurface the Lion Force, and they could never go back, so they had to have replacement for their position, and that was the Earth Alliance three team of five vehicles. You got the
Yeah.
air, you got the sea, and the land team. Because during the
Because
collaboration of the movie, they were showing like, hey, we've been a while. They will call their name out because that means they would act under the same camp at one point, but just that
so
those two
in
volunteer.
they don't cut you off 1 second. In 1981 to 1982, Beast King Gold Lions was a series called.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So that's where the series actually first came to the Japanese animation.
And
Then it
the
came to us in
and the vehicle one was Armor Fleet Daruga 15, so to speak.
84. It was called Voltron, Defenders of the Universe Vehicle Force. That was the name of it.
Oh, okay, that's the English one.
Yeah. Then after that, we had a little break. Then in 1998 to 2000, I'm counting the movies. I'm only counting the series at this moment. Is Voltron the Third Dimension that I think it sucked personally. It hurt my eyes.
CGI
Yeah. See,
animated
I think
sequel.
I didn't watch it all the way through. I've watched a couple episodes. I was like, yeah, this ain't for me.
Yeah. Then we went to Voltron Force after that.
2011
Yep. And then it was the new series, obviously, the Voltron.
Legendary Defender, that 2016 to 2018.
Yeah, that was a reboot, in my personal opinion. I think it was
Total
good.
reboot.
Huh?
It was good. I
Yeah, I
liked
think.
it. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, that's why it's keep coming back and back and back. But the only pushback I have with Netflix right now, why would you take it off stream and it's so popular to this day?
It's
Good question.
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix is always. So for you guys, which was your favorite lion?
Black,
That's a hard one.
black.
I can see you being like the what was it? What's the girl one? The yellow one, was it?
Now the girl, Princess Alora, she
The,
piloted
the
the Blue
blue.
Lion,
I can
and
see you being blue.
but she wasn't the original. She wasn't the original pilot.
She wasn't.
It was oh gosh, Sev. So in the original series, there were five pilots that came out to
Hmm.
find the lions. Sev gets injured, and actually in the Japanese version, he gets killed, but he gets injured in the Voltron version. He did, gets sent home, disappears, and Princess Allura takes over the Blue Lion. Um, and which was kind of, I got it. But that's why I like the Netflix version because they fleshed that whole thing out and
Hmm.
they made that like a big, huge drama. And, Sev does get um, injured. They think he gets killed, but he realistically he gets spoiler alert captured, and then he comes back and there's a huge thing about all this. This was I mean that Netflix series, yeah, oh yes, there's that too, yes, yeah. I mean this is we're in the 21st century. You got to hit those check marks. You know what I mean? But
Whew.
So the original
besides that, it
pilot's
was a great
name.
show.
So the five original pilot was, I'm gonna butcher it. Shiro. I might pronounce that wrong. Uh, Ken, Lance, Peg, and Hank.
Mhm.
Hedge,
Yeah.
so
The, Shiro was the one you were talking about, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that he was captured, and people were telling you, "Oh my god, he fucking died! How did you do this in anime? You killed a character is ludicrous. How would you like? Oh shit, just been hanging out here with the guys having beers, so I'm cool."
But the issue with that one, that reboot they did, is whereby we look at the season count, it was not making any sense. One season had way more episodes than the other one. The other two were too short. It's like you got to figure out what was going on with the production because this could have been done properly and it would have been a huge hit. Go anyone who grew up with the old Voltron, there were a lot of episodes. There were a lot of storyline that could have been redone and repurposed properly. But for some apparent reason, we start to notice when people put their hand in the cookie jar too much too soon, we start to mess things up. And I got to tell, based, I'm sure Angel Elf, you're not the only one beside me. You all can tell like something is off here. Something is
Yeah.
missing here. There's some episode missing in this story arc. Like, what the hell going on here? Why are you doing this? Same thing we did with the Thundercat when I lost my cool. They were flushing out in season one. It had a good storytelling arc going on. It was a character come the character creation was getting done properly. It got to a point whereby you got to know that they want to like we need to do the story correctly. This was I have my issue with Voltron. This new
Yeah.
Voltron, it was going in the right direction. The storyline was getting flushed out properly. So along the line, higher up decided to put their stinky, dirty hand in it and start to make it even worse than what it is.
Yeah.
That's
That
why
is
So
very
I
true.
that's why I felt if you want to redeem it correctly, give it to the Japanese, let it do it properly from start to finish, let it do it the right way, and will be done with justice.
mhm. So the question I got for you guys now, as Voltron, they changed some things in the Netflix series versus the original. All right. So
Mhm.
King, Kent, Keith, whatever his name is, the he was the red line or the the black pilot. I'm sorry. They changed his story in the Netflix. How did you guys feel about that?
Based on the original storyline and compared to this one, it's two different things. They make it seem
Mhm.
like he from another different race, that he have a hidden agenda, or he particularly a rival race that of Prince Darkon race, so to speak. That didn't make no sense. It did not,
Yeah.
because based on the original storyline, that never came up.
Right. I I honestly think that was a bit of the storytellers trying to put more drama, more storytelling. Because I mean, the original when back in the 80s when they would take a Japanese anime and bring it over to the United States, they would sanitize that thing all the way down to freaking like bare bones. And then they're changing a lot of the dialogue and stuff to meet kind of some basic kid story that they were telling. It's kind of like what they did about a decade later when they brought the Power Rangers over and kind of did the exact same thing. Um, they would take the footage that they had from Power Rangers, put their own storyline in it, intermingle it with the kids that they were filming, on a separate stage and try to create a show. And
It it,
this
it it's bad. It is bad.
oh
But
yeah,
with the Power
it
Rangers,
was
at least there were some scenes that shot in America, and then you see in the background they're running from the monster in Japan, in Japanese, stop signs and stuff and shit like that. I'm like, how did you end up in Japan in 30
well,
seconds?
yeah, there's that suspension of disbelief that you got to do. You got to use your imagination when you're watching those things. But
I was
but
forced
I
to watch the Japanese version to find out some of the Power Rangers in Japan have a much better storyline than
yes,
the. And when I say way better, I'm scratching my head like, do I need to move to Japan so I don't have to watch no more American stuff no more? Because it seems to me that you anything American made, it's meant to dumb you down to the point where you like, oh, do, do,
yeah,
do, do, do. Like seriously, it's that it's so freaking bad. To find out the amount of power we saw in America is not even compared to the actual original number they have over there. It's a huge library, and the storyline doesn't match up. And you can tell if you are a tough critic, you're not so gullible about it. You be like, something's wrong here. This don't look right. Nah, they don't add up. You got to catch on
right.
to it.
And,
Well,
and
if
that's the thing. That's the thing we people don't understand. Like, oh, this is cool at first because it's new, but as you look at it, like, what the fuck am I watching here?
And that's why I had an issue
yeah,
with Voltron, because anyone who grew up in the 80 era, there's something we consider sacred to us. Voltron was sacred to us. G.I. Joe was sacred to us. Transformer was sacred to us. Like there are a couple of sacred cartoons that you don't want to sabotage and mess with your childhood. But when we do it, the question is, are you gonna do it properly? So to find out they can't even do it properly. And when they do their own version, you gotta look at it. You be like, what this?
And that is the factor that we need to sit down and have that conversation like we are now is why does these producers of anime series, cartoons, or whatever you want to call it, think ourselves as the 80 kids and 90 kids that we're dumb as shit?
We're, it I don't think it's they think that we're dumb as shit. I think it's more along the lines that they're trying to appeal to a modern audience. That's the problem. And you hear that all the time. They're trying to appeal to a modern audience. And here's the problem. That modern audience doesn't exist. It doesn't exist to the extent that they want it to. And the only way these 80s properties move forward into the future is by appealing to folks like us that have kids and then say, hey, I watched this when I was your age and I really liked it. Sit down. I want to show you this. And
And that's the
some of
problem.
these, yeah.
I think
In fact, I'll tell you this. I don't feel comfortable with my daughter sitting down in front of modern cartoons. What do I have her sit down and watch? The old cartoons that I used to watch. In fact, she is doing a run of the DC animated shows, Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League. She's sitting there and she's eating that stuff up.
I have to agree with him because
David, hang on 1 second. Let's get him in here because he's waiting for A to jump in. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the president elect. He gets a kick out of it.
Angry elf. They want to keep this thing going for a while, so I can't stop them. So what am I going to do?
You get a kick out of it. I see how your reaction is.
You are the president of the 7 beautiful ball headed. Hey, it's your club.
Oh,
it's
no
your
doubt.
country.
No
you mean?
No, all we got to do is get the merchandise for you and have the 7 ball head figure on the front.
Oh, I'm working on that. Don't worry. I have a flag. I'm making a flag just for him. His big head's gonna be like this. All right.
Make sure you do that. You put him in the front, and you have some secret agent with a black shade, all ball headed too, 3 on each side, protect him.
So we gotta come on with a better name for a Secret Service for you. We can't use Secret Service. Maybe it's Secret Ball Guys. Maybe.
You got a better name than that.
We'll work on the marketing.
Yeah, before we go too ahead, David, finish your statement, and then I'll have Paul put his open.
I have to agree with Angry Elf because this is something that I've been noticing for the past almost a decade now. Because when you look at cartoons that are being pushed out, not only on Cartoon Network, but on either on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon and Disney, you have to be critical about it. What are the agenda they're pushing these cartoons? And when I'm sure Angry Elf seen the thing out there, they're putting too much wokeism inside these animation or the cartoons to the point whereby it's too blatantly out there. I had to sit down and talk to my daughter, like, no offense, the American cartoon watches is making you dumb. I had to be blunt with her. It's literally making you dumb as hell. I will not watch.
She said it. I had nothing to do with this one. I am saying.
I'm trying to get my speed as to see secret balls. I was like, oh.
Wait. I have a question for Angry Elf because I always see you wear a hat. Are you a hair brother or are you a 7B member?
No, I got hair. It's just I don't like combing it, so I always put a hat on because I'm lazy.
Grow it out and make a bun out of it. That's what I say.
Oh no, the wife won't go for that, and I don't know if I can deal with that. After spending so long having short hair, once it gets to a certain length, it starts driving me crazy. I got to go get a haircut.
So Angry Elf, you never had a mullet?
Oh no, No. I mean, I have gone like straight up bicked bald several times, and people are kind of like, it doesn't work for you, you know.
Maybe
I mean,
if you grew your beard out completely.
it's a problem. I've got poor German genetics. This is about as good as I'm going to get it.
Oh, you're fucked no matter what. You're just screwed.
Exactly.
So hear that, Mr. Paul? They took him out of your club immediately. They're like, oh no, you can't be in that part of that club. Come over here.
You're
Put
not
some of
even
your
part of
back
the
on you."
club. You get too much hair. All right, Paul, your turn. You want to put your open monologue in very fast?
Well, again, I watched Voltron. Certainly growing up, no question. I was a teenager when it came out, and like all of these imports from Japan, never knew a lot about the origin series. I guess it was called Super Sentai. I think it was the original name of the series, and they just ported it over as Voltron. So look, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both versions of it. I enjoyed the Lions. I enjoyed the Seer and Sea Land and water teams. Space teams. Good stuff. No question about it. But if I was going to be devil's advocate for a minute here, obviously there have been this whole idea, this mecha genre of anime, right? Or live action or what have you. There's been so many different series that have come up over the years. I mean, even the Transformers, they kind of went to that when you came out with the Constructicons and whatnot, and you had like the Super Mechs and things that obviously probably the most famous, certainly at least in the United States, was the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And then you had after that, you had like Battle Beetles or, some other. I mean, there have been constant ones. And interesting because a lot of these series, they didn't even last that long in Japan. It's not like these series ran for like 5 or 6 years or whatever. But it came here and it became, certainly a big time hits. But after a while of watching them, I think the themes were quite frankly, I think a lot of them were the same. I'll give credit to probably my favorite anime of all time, Battle of the Planets. Even the American versions of it, I thought it had a lot more depth in terms of storylines from week to week. But Voltron, at least what we saw, and again, I never saw the Super Sentai series, and so I don't know what the backstory is or what the what the main theme of it is. It was pretty formulaic every week. You had the blue skinned people. I forget their names now. The evil witch looking woman, and always devised a plan, and she always had like a new beast every week. And then obviously Voltron went into action, and they had to beat the beast. So I think for me, especially compared to, because again, Voltron was out when Transformers was out. And again, I thought Transformers or even G.I. Joe from week to week had a lot more diversity in terms of the storylines than Voltron did, or similar series to it. Or, certainly on the American side, they built, stories around it just using the footage. But it became the same thing, and you knew Voltron was going to win in the end. You knew he was going to, form Laser Sword or whatever the sword he was going to fashion, and he was going to do the one slash or whatever, and that was going to be the end of the beast, and that was it. The only time it really got interesting for me was when the Voltron movie came out, the one I was able to see, where you had the two Voltrons. They had to combine, and they had to go up against more formidable beasts and monsters and whatnot. It had to be a lot more creative in terms of the outcome. I thought that was interesting. But week to week, it was like you knew what was going to happen. As soon as they formed Voltron, formed Laser Sword / game over next week. But a lot of them were like that. I remember going back to 1978, and I know me and my man Eric, we actually got a hold of these. There was a Spider-Man series. A Sentai Spider-Man series that followed the same formula. He had this robot that he controlled, and he would drive his car into it. He'd form into the robot. Well, it was like a spaceship, and then it transformed into a robot. He would form his sword / into the and then see you next week, and like the same thing was there. So I just think a lot of those series were relatively Now, as I think about it as an adult, I might think about it differently when I was younger, when I was 14 or 13, when, whenever these things came out. But again, very formulaic. So um, I know Dave is talking about American cartoons and whatnot, but honestly, I didn't see a lot of depth in some of the Japanese ones. At least what I was able to see at the time. I'd have to go back and look at. Like I said, I want to go back and watch the original Gotcha Man series. I just haven't had time to do so and see what depth is there. But like I said, week to week, even the Americanized versions of them, they went deep. They took you into again who Zoltar was and exploring origins of going in depth on each character in terms of their storylines and things like that. I just enjoyed that series a lot better because I thought they went a little bit, even though some of it got goofy with Seven Arc 7 and stuff like that. But that's what I remember from my experience watching Voltron. I haven't watched a lot of it in recent years. Probably haven't seen anything Voltron related in maybe 5-6 years. But it was, like I said, it was good when it was there, and it was always part of a loop. So we had Transformers, G.I. Joe, Voltron. Afternoons after school, from like that 3 to 4:30 or 4:30 to 5:30, whatever the time period was, and it was fun for the time. But I wouldn't say that I'm just like this diehard fan. To be honest, I wasn't really the biggest fan of the Power Rangers. Quite, I mean, I saw a lot of it. They tried to. I thought that the Americanized versions were kind of silly, in the high school setting. But the action that we saw, again, it was like on repeat. Robot comes out, does a couple things. Teams, oh, we got to get together. We got to form together. Take out your major weapon, whatever it was, slay the beast, and on to the next one. So that's kind of what I remember of it. So again, I may not be the biggest contributor to this conversation, but that's kind of what I remember. And if you guys can enlighten me on what I missed, then certainly I'm open to that.
I'm not going to do a pushback, but I had to slightly
I
agree
do.
with the Paul. You know I'm saying that because yes, Voltron, most of its battle it went based on sword stuff, but it had a little extra arsenal besides the blazing sword. It had like something like a ninja star like weaponry they have at one point. I remember that part. That also used to kill Robit at one point. But when you mention how it supposed to finish, it did seem or feel that way, but the newest version didn't make it seem that way at all. Maybe the old version it looked that way at one point because Angry Elf understand that there was a Japanese licensed anime that we all thought was cartoon number one, and they had to put their own storyline on top of that. Now, you, you look on Japanese animation, Japanese actually have always been a bit on long-term storytelling. They try to tell you a story with different arcs into it. So even though we're doing a show on the 15 by anime on Wednesday, me and Wally were trying to go into depth on multiple episodes, explaining in detail why you cannot compare a cartoon with anime because it's two different genres, two different presentation, two different production. But the one have more of an in-depth story, but it's more educational in a way because I hate to say this, but over 30 years of me watching anime, there are a lot of stuff I remember in high school I remember seeing in anime that it kind of like, oh, I remember we talk about that. But when I watch cartoons, not one thing I learn anything. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting dumbed down. Let's be honest. But Voltron, there's a lot of hint on a lot of things that you can almost you're learning something as you watch it. I give you that. But my pushback is similar to Angry L pushback or the present version of Voltron. There are too many unnecessary Easter eggs they were throwing in and throwing hint at, whereby you kind of like a little bit protected by our kids. If I have my way, I'll tell you, okay, we moved to Japan. I don't have to worry about what they watch because what they watch, you'll know they're not watching garbage over there. It's more competitive, more educational, but there's too many different genres. But Voltron itself, I won't be surprised if I watch the Japanese version and I realize it's completely different from the storyline. I would start asking questions. Why they put this here? Why they put that here? What are we doing for this over here? What are we doing for that over here? because 10, 12, 10, 12 years ago, no one, you never expect you to see a bunch of grown folk in Barnes and Noble wearing manga books and they're there for hours. I found out almost 15 years ago. It was like I thought it was a small thing, but not really the big thing. A lot of grown folks start to realize, oh, I didn't know they have this. I didn't know they have this. People start to catch on to the Japanese culture and the storytelling, and start to realize it's a completely different form of comic book. I was telling Wally, you might have to do a episode comparing manga with comic books to see what would be the difference between both styles, because this is something on a cultural aspect you might want to take the time to break it down. Because looking at Voltron, it's supposed to be based on a Japanese product, but at the same token, we are all still thinking it's an American product when it's not.
But yeah, but that's all. But that's all anime. All of them. I don't think there's been one. Angref or Ghost, you might. I don't think there's been one that has ever been brought over that has been restored in its original. That's a very recent thing. For example, the original Godzilla,
Ooh,
Godzilla 54 was, certainly be. Now, again, I love 56. Raymond Burr, I thought that was for what it was. I thought that was an excellent port, bringing an American reporter into the action. I think they preserved a lot of the spirit of it, and that's the Godzilla that we all grew up on. For the most, at least for me and my generation, that's what we grew up on. We didn't know about 54 until, gosh, probably the 90s. And that's when I think the original CD or DVD came out. We didn't even know what 54 was. We read about it, but we didn't know about it. But all of them did the same thing. So I'm not going to just limit this to just a one franchise. They've all done that.
true.
Yeah.
That's a very good
It,
argument.
it's the problem of it is it's the, like we said, it's the porting over. And when they brought this, especially the stuff, what happened in the 80s, in the actually, I think it started in the late 70s, but in the
Yeah.
80s, they started to realize that these properties that they were trying to turn into cartoon series and sell toys, they had problems with. And then when the regulations and the Reagan administration, as far as what you can show on TV, changed, and you could basically have 30-minute toy commercials for these shows, they went to Japan. Transformers came from Japan. Obviously, Voltron came from Japan. Some of these other properties, Robotech came from Japan, and they went full tilt and took these properties, turned them into what we understand it as Americans today. Some of them were bastardized, some of them were,
Some of them,
shredded apart and put back together. But yeah, and you go
hell,
back and you
I'm not cutting
realize
you off, dude, but they still do
what
this to
some of
this
these
day.
series
They
were.
rape them.
Yeah.
They still do
But
it
I
to this
think there's
day. They
something.
destroy it.
I think that what my hope
Mhm.
is that certainly we live in a more global world where, again, things aren't so hidden. I think if you let the property stands, like, again, Godzilla -1,
Oh God,
don't
that was
change a thing. It was not only just a great Godzilla movie, it was a great film. Just full
yes.
stop.
I need to watch that.
You're
Oh,
missing out. I'm telling you.
absolutely.
I'm saying leave it alone and just let it play out.
Yes.
And that's enough. So again, I think for American audience, this may not work in an American audience. I think that we are intelligent enough to figure out,
And
are there
that's
going to
the
be some cultural differences or things like
that's the
that to be
biggest
explored?
problem. They keep
Yeah.
assuming that it's not going to work. But let's be honest here. These media companies know full well that a lot of Japanese product and Chinese product are hitting the global stage much bigger than their own products. They're very aware of that. There was a rumor out there that were talking about how Disney might jump into the anime business, and that right there is not going to happen.
I don't think
It's,
that's ever going to happen. If
it's
CQ
not
was
going to
on this
happen.
panel right now, he probably will back me up. Elf, am I wrong?
No.
Yeah.
Because
The
I
only
don't
thing
think
I
I
was
don't
going to say,
there's no
David,
way they can do that because what Japanese have perfected over decades
yeah.
of perfection. I even watched
Yeah.
I even watched a documentary of the Mobile Suit Gundam animation team and how much time and effort they put just to create a scene. in one episode. And I'm like, God damn, that's a lot of work. How many hours they put in there? Like, oh, they gotta go throw they one Star Blazer. EJ, you got to throw that one there too.
Hang out 1 second before we get too ahead of ourselves. We're forgetting a major thing. These American companies butcher or bastardize or whatever you want to call it our animes. It's for one reason. They care how can we promote toys the best way possible because we pay for all this money to bring this shit in here. Now we need to make money, 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 money. That's all they care about.
That's Eric.
Well,
Go ahead, Elf. Go ahead. Go ahead, Elf.
if we're going to talk about and stick to Voltron, all right, that's exactly what they did. They brought over the diecast toys, right? None of us in the 80s had seen a diecast toy, right? That's totally Japanese. And with regulations, with the Reagan administration changing, that you can do a 30-minute toy commercial. Originally, Matchbox, who had the license for Voltron for the toys, right? There was going to be three Voltrons: the
Mhm.
Lion Force, there was the Vehicle Force, and then there was a third one. And forgive me, I can't remember what the third one was, and it never came to fruition. There were toys. Well, at least what I saw was advertisements for the toys for this third Voltron, and but it never came to fruition. And whatever it was, but that was it was all about selling the toys. And all they would do is take the stuff from Japan, sometimes recolor it, make it kind of work with what they were putting on the screen, and then send it out. And I'll tell you what, as a kid in the 80s, I ate that stuff up.
Yeah. And keep in mind, like you just said, Angry Elf, it's not like Japanese aren't interested in toys either, right? They're making toys too, so it's not to say that
Yep.
American interest is only in toys
But
and
they're the
Japanese was just for the art of
they're
it.
the
No, they want to make
quality
money
difference.
too.
They
And
were
again,
the
and keep
quality
in mind,
difference.
Finish. Let him finish.
those series did not last very long.
All right, David, go
I
That's
ahead.
why a
understand.
lot of the footage was oftentimes reused over and over again. You saw same shots from show to show. It wasn't like these were like on for 10 years in Japan. Now Looney Tunes and whatnot, that stuff played for like 40 years,
Yeah.
consistent. I mean, constant. Hanna Barbera, they had much longer. The Flint, much longer runs. But if you look at even the
Yeah.
Power Rangers, how long was the original series? The original, how many seasons was that before they changed it into something else? It
Forever.
wasn't that long. That the original, so it's not like these are like such love properties that and then the Japanese fans are like, you're taking our series and bastardizing. A lot back then, I don't even know if they knew about it because you had so many different things that were coming out.
Well, if you want to go over and start talking about, and I'm not trying to jump to different properties, but you want to talk about Transformers, the the Japanese. So Transformers here in the States technically lasted 4 seasons. It was really 3 plus seasons,
Hmm.
but it was 4 seasons. And then the Japanese took Generation One Transformers and ran with it, and they did their whole I think it was called the Headmasters series or whatever, but they did a whole nother
Yeah, yeah.
series worth of cartoons that deviated from what we did after season three, and they ate up Transformers, even though it came from their toy line, something else completely different from Transformers. But once they realized what was going on, they loved Transformers and they ran with it. And some of the best stuff that came out from, gosh, some of the best Transformer toys that I have right now are not American. They're Japanese, and I love it.
The same thing when you talk about toys. The Japanese toys have a different level of quality when it comes to being
Oh
made.
yeah.
And the Voltron line are to this day is still a collectible. To look online and to search the web who have the original diecast Transformer Lion toys, you know where that thing goes right now? I won't be surprised it's a six-figure thing for the whole five line.
Well,
Complete.
here's the thing. here was one thing that was different between the Japanese and the American version of the Voltron toys. The Voltron toys from Japan, the Go Lion toys, came with projectiles, the blazing sword, the shield, the whole 9 yards, right? When they ported that over to the United States, you got the 5 lions. That was it. You didn't get any projectiles. You didn't get a blazing sword. You didn't get this. You didn't get that. Why? Because about a half decade earlier, we had problems with these spring-loaded toys. Some kid caught a freaking little rocket in his throat and choked or something. So the American culture was, we got to tell. Even the teeth on the lions were filed down so they weren't sharp.
Elf, I want to cut you off 1 second. Do you know how much a Voltron 50-year anniversary? 50-year anniversary special edition is going for on Amazon right now? Give me a rough number.
I wouldn't even look at Amazon. Probably 500.
Close enough. 340 right now.
So, but
how much?
340.
Yeah, Bandai's Japan. Yeah, that's about right. See, here's the only thing. So I've been looking to get another Voltron, and the only thing I want is
455.
I don't want to see the legs from the lions when they're in the the Voltron form. And the closest I've come to, and I got this yesterday, is a Super 7 Cyborg Voltron that looks like what we saw on the screen, right? And this will become my main Voltron in my collection as soon as we're done with this show. But the cool part about this Voltron is, I don't know if I can do it. Oh, okay. Yep. Components come off so you can see what's inside Voltron. But yes, this will be my main Voltron going forward because this is what I remember from the cartoon.
Show off.
That's what I want. I want that nostalgia, remembering what I saw on the screen.
I'm not arguing that. Here's my question for you guys. This is what I was going to ask you guys earlier.
That's almost $500.
So my question for you guys is, okay, Voltron is technically a robot, all right? So the franchise of robots in general now, how did Voltron influence or change the robot series or franchises?
I mean, it was just different ones. I mean, I'm literally, it's to be honest, it's almost like a mistake to talk about Voltron in certain ways. Like what we're talking about, what we're familiar with Voltron, they were two separate series.
Yeah.
Two separate entities. But we all kind of lump them into the Voltron, universe, so to speak.
Yeah.
Beast King Go Lion is very different from Armored Fleet Daruger 15. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they only ran one season each. There are 52 episodes of the Lion series, 56 episodes of the Armored Fleet series. Like I said, it wasn't like these things were just beloved in Japan for years and kids grew up with it. If you grew up with it in syndication, but you didn't grow up with it like it was just because otherwise they would have just came out with new series and new episodes and stuff for many years. They didn't last very long.
I'll give you.
So I think it's just but the formula, really you got to talk about this in terms of the mecha genre. So you got anime, you have Sentai, you have kaiju, you have the mecha, and in this case here, the mecha meaning the robots that combine, right?
Yep.
So that's a separate genre in and of itself, and that was just a very popular thing in Japan, and it's been popular over many decades. So I would say, really, you got to talk about the genre of mecha and how that has lasted with us for decades, and all the properties that were mecha that were ported over to the United States and became these franchises that we talk about, like Power Rangers or what have you. Yeah, I mean, you could argue that, to my knowledge, Voltron or the Go Lion series, yeah, if they didn't, if they weren't successful, then that was in 1981, March 81 to February 82. So not even a full year. If they weren't successful, you wouldn't have had the series that came after that, which was the next season, March of 82 to March of 83, and so on and so forth. So the fact that the genre itself, people or kids seem to like these teams or like the concept of giant robots fighting aliens or whatever, and when it gets really bad, take these robots combined into a super robot to beat the enemies. That's just a formula that certainly has worked there, but they keep coming out with the same series. But how many of these series have lasted more than 1 or 2 seasons in Japan, where this stuff originated
I'm glad you
from?
mentioned that, because you mentioned the original Voltron have what? How many? The line Voltron
It had 52 episodes
in one season.
Yes.
Now,
whereas the second series, the team had 56, but it's essentially still one season.
but you notice, one season, 52 episodes. Now, this so-called new Voltron, one season was like 11 episodes. They spread out into 8 seasons, and altogether was 76 episodes. Compared to the old day, one season was 52. The next Voltron was 56 episodes. That was the vehicle Voltron.
Right.
And this is why I brought a comparison, because when it comes to season, you mentioned season, which I'm glad you mentioned that.
Now but that's changed over the years, though. Now what? Correct me if I'm wrong. A season is like 10 episodes now. Like on Netflix or whatever, they call that a season.
Somewhere between 8 and 12, yeah.
I'm just saying, but that whole definition in television has changed over the years. A season used to be 52 episodes, or at least 36 episodes, and then you would play them. You would play them in the off season or whatever until September, when the new season started up again and everybody kind of got together. So now everything, when people started talking about, like, I remember just saying, like, Jersey Shore, right? Remember that MTV Jersey? They were talking about, we've been around for 10 seasons. It's like, wait a minute, you haven't 10. How many? What's a season? 10 episodes is a season. So they played fast and loose with that definition of what a season is for a long time.
And I'm glad.
But I'm still connected to the calendar. If you don't have 30 episodes, that's not a season to me.
We might have to talk about that part, because Voltron had 52 episodes. The first one, second one was 56. Thundercat was the same way too. You know that. How many episodes was Thundercat? It was like what, 40 or 50 episodes?
You know what's funny, David, with this is the Voltron, even Thundercats, they milked it out so much to stretch the seasons out. One episode, or so on. You felt like you were watching 3 or 4 seasons. Think about it.
Here's the other thing. For them to go into syndication, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the episode count, but you got to get like 65, 70 episodes to go into syndication. That was a thing back in the day.
Yeah.
You needed to hit a certain episode count, and that's why you would see some of these shows
Star Trek
after like the Star Trek.
Star Trek 60, 66 episodes, 60 or 68. 66.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They barely crossed that threshold to go into syndication. And if we want to talk about Star Trek and they didn't cross that threshold, we wouldn't have Star Trek like we have today. We would have never saw Next Generation. We would have never saw DS9 or Voyager.
I don't know if we got the movies. Because, I mean, that fan base was built in syndication to get the movies.
Now we're looking at, because this is what I'm talking about. EJ, well, you throwing some nugget on my right. Like, I hate EJ. Now that's another topic I want to talk about another time when I get a chance to. The Shogun Warriors.
Yep.
Oh God.
That was all part of, and I remember I think I posted a commercial, because the Godzilla franchise was also in America at the time. You had the NBC animated series, of Godzilla, and you also had Marvel that also came out with a Godzilla series, also around the same time. So that, like, late 78, 79. You certainly had Americans really milking those properties at that time. I remember those ads very well.
And
Yeah.
that's a key thing. Americans milk out the product very long. Thundercats, Silverhawks, Robotech, all these series are milked out. But here's the question I got for you guys. So, if we only have one season, 2 or 3, was this series that successful in Japan?
That's what I'm asking. If it was that good, if it was such a beloved property like Godzilla is, or pick whatever. And like I don't know that much about Dragon Ball Z or whatever, or even what's the one with the orb things?
Here's the thing. When it comes to animes, Voltron fall into the mecha category. Cause anything concerning mecha,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm not gonna lie to you, Paul. If you get a chance to look into mecha category, you'll find too many big names. Voltron is part of it. Robotech is part of it. Mobile Suit Gundam. That mobile was back in the 70s. You go on
Yeah.
Netflix, look for the original. It was in the 70s that that Mobile Suit
Yeah.
Gundam. And you see the production changing over time. I mean, they got better. Where they were back then in the 70s and what it is right now, it's a massive gap. It's not even a joke. There are so many mecha anime that fall in the lineup. Voltron is considered part of the iconic ones. Big O is another one, iconic one. Besides Robotech, there's another one. I forgot what they call. They was almost like they transformed from plane to mobile. I forgot what it is. Escaflowne, another one. It's like if you want to talk about anime and where Voltron stayed in, it's one of the big up there. It's beloved, but there are too many of them. It's like a library. So when you talk about genre in anime, and if that was to be to expose to the America, I hate to say a lot of people in our age group feel like we got robbed. They'll say, why we didn't get to see all this, but they showing us this garbage. Because there was so many Japanese animation that they were trying to bring over. They wait a later year. Dragon Ball Z, if you look at the actual date it actually started, it wasn't even in the 90s, it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
That to show how far back that is and how long that is. Then when I tell people about One Piece, well, I mean, I think One Piece got over 1,100 plus episodes. It started almost around the same time Dragon Balls started. And the people who created One Piece was a student to the guy who created Dragon Ball. So you can imagine how that thing looked and see how far that went. And I was telling people, if you want to watch One Piece, start from the beginning. You can't start from anywhere in the middle because it's a long storyline with many different arcs, with many
It doesn't
different
even
characters.
end, dude. And that series never ends.
It's not that it never ends.
Oh.
That is the beauty of having a great storyline.
Yeah.
But
Or
that doesn't get to
beloved
that doesn't get to
characters.
his question though, David. Yeah, I think you might be proving his point because I'm looking at Dragon Ball Z aired in Japan on Fuji TV from April 1989 to January 1996.
And
To me,
I would
that's
say
a
that's a
successful.
successful show.
before Dragon
That's a
Ball Z,
success. Yes, that's a successful. It's just like here. Any show that you, I don't care if
but
it's MASH,
but here's
All
the
in the
joke though.
Family. I'm showing my age here, but I'm just saying all those. I'm just saying. I mean, series a successful series at least 5 seasons.
But here's the joke though. Before
Yeah.
there was Dragon Ball Z, there was Dragon Ball. That was also a success too.
Right,
Dragon Ball
but
was
I'm
the
saying,
first
but go
one.
back to Voltron though. 1 season.
Yeah.
And again, and it was 2 separate things. How would you like it if you took something that you liked that much, all right, with the goal lines and whatnot, and then the next season comes around and they totally change it around, and they totally change to how it looks, and they totally change the characters? You'd be like, "What is this?
Because
What happened to my?
the last episode, because the
my
last
show?"
episode of Voltron Lion, they left the planet. They were going somewhere else.
I'll give
So
you
that's
guys
kind
a
of like a
better
spin-off
example.
too.
I'll give you a better example. Cyborg 009. How many series?
Cyborg 009.
Yes.
What? Okay,
That is
I'm out of my element.
that's
Somebody clue me in.
that is an old
Here, I'll send it to you right
anime.
now, Rob.
That is an old anime that has been iconic for a long
And
time,
it still goes. It's still playing to this day.
and it get redone, different version of it to the point. In the more modern version, you start to feel like, okay, you need to keep this modern version production going because you can expand the storyline of the old version in this production and go big with it. Because I wasn't a fan of Cyborg David or not of the old generation. I was like, it's all right. Until so the latest one, I'm like, no, I need to go back and respect the old one first. Like another anime, Bio Armor Guyver. There were two adaptations of that one, where one kid got caught up with a bio weapon that came on and popped and it came to an armor, okay, any kind of thing gave him superpower, but he can revert back to his normal self because that thing got embedded into his DNA. Look at Cyborg 009. It's an iconic anime.
Yeah, no, I googled it real quick, and I will say that I'm ignorant enough that I've never seen it, but I need to go look at it.
And that's the
I
thing.
think
That's the anime library that I found out during the 90s. I thought it was small, and now it was huge. I was like, it would take me a whole entire lifetime to watch all of these animes. And I've been watching anime since the early 90s.
Yeah.
From
I want
Akira.
to show you guys something one really fast. I did a little Google search on Wikipedia because I like stirring the pot. I like causing problems.
Yeah, you do cause too much
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
problems.
fuck off up there. Yeah. This is a list of mecha, and a lot of them repeat each other. A lot get repeated over and over, like season one,
But
season.
look at this. Look at the seasons. One season, not even a season. Not like
Wait,
1975. Like nothing.
further down, like for example, Android 009, it was up here, somewhere up here, right here. Then further down is down here again.
They kind of they probably restarted this franchise or
Oh, it's
jazzed it up.
season two.
But look here, Voltron. What's that? Was that? That's not Voltron. It's Volts. What is that?
Volten.
It's something else.
Yeah. But again, they don't last very long. That would annoy me as an American, as a watcher. How would you like your favorite if you got into a series and it only lasted a year, and then they're throwing something else at you? It seems like here
I'll give you a better example, Paul.
we like consistency over time generally.
And I'm glad you said that. But here's the thing about a lot of these anime are mostly pushed by people who created the manga first. Because in Japan, animation and manga is a huge competition. Your stuff has to hit. If it's not something that will draw audience, they're not going to put it out there. If
No.
your manga is not making the sale for it to go into animation, they're not even going to go that far. So
Well, again, this is proof. This is proof right here. None of them.
So,
Most of the ones on here haven't lasted more than one season.
I'll give you another example. Gundam. Most series don't get the second season. Gundam Seed and Gundam Universal Century is there only two series in the whole franchise that got the story continued into the next season. Am I wrong, Dave, or right?
no, the complication with it. When it comes to Mobile Suit Gundam, they have too many manga storyline. The person who controlling what go on air, if they higher up who want to make money on the sale of toys, which that have been nothing but the issue. Because what I found out about it is the creator of the series were bumping head with the higher up who bought the license. It was originally for one other company license before they got bought out, and they were dictating how. And not only there's a huge fan base who was siding with the creator, saying that why are they doing this bullshit? Because I'm a big time Mobile 2 Gundam fan. And I had to watch the old one and see the production change over time. I'm like, there's the reason why this thing is heavily iconic and got a massive fan base where people are buying the Gunpla, building their own to the point they're having all these yearly competition for more than a decade and a half.
Yeah. Before we
And
move
there's
on,
so many.
let's get Elf in here. He's been too quiet. I don't like that.
No, he understand what I'm talking about because he might be deeper than me in Japanese culture than I do because if he got a chance to go to Japan and go to these, you be like this.
Oh yeah. So for one, I've never been to Japan. That is on the bucket list.
What, your
Two,
dog didn't send you there yet?
No,
no,
here's
the
a
army
joke.
never sent me there. They sent me to Europe and freaking, Southeast Asia,
But you were
the
in
Middle East.
Germany recently, weren't you?
Oh, like 18 months ago,
But
a
ask him to ship
little
you
over a
to
year ago.
Japan.
Let's play this.
And no,
If you throw Paul Bennett
talking
in
about
look,
like
here's
that
a
far
joke.
apart.
Here's a joke. You
No,
throw Paul in
Japan.
Japan, he's not coming back.
Oh no. Oh no.
Actually, that was actually my plan going out of college. So back in the late '80s, early '90s, it was like Japan was supposed to be the superpower that was supposed to topple America. The top 8 of the 10 largest banks were Japanese banks, and even if you look at Godzilla versus Ghidorah, that was the whole premise, right? Japan comes so strong that they got to go back in time, create Godzilla to destroy Japan because they were afraid of the super. So my plan was I was going to graduate with my degree in computer science. I was going to work for a Japanese multinational, like maybe based out of San Francisco. I would spend half the year in Japan because I was big into trying to learn Japanese at the time. I would marry a biracial black Japanese girl because obviously U.S. over there with the U.S. With the bases and everything, a lot of Blasian kids in Japan. So let me get a sister, with that Blasian thing, and this was all planned out back in 1990, 1991. But life took me in another direction. That never happened. But I was definitely, the way it was looking back then, working for a Japanese company or a company that did business bi-coastally like that, that was, if it was, if that script played out, I would have been in a totally different situation.
I will tell you now, where I went to Europe and I kind of spent a lot of my time in Europe. My sister went to Japan, so I've gotten bits and pieces of the Japanese culture brought back to me. Like I'm not going to pull it down and show you, but I have a sake viper, a viper snake that was drowned in sake. Oh, that's
Don't
a
act,
prized
Paul. Peter,
possession.
don't act, Peter. I told Peter fake. Peter was like, don't act.
But yeah, one of my bucket lists is to go to Japan, and I mean, a lot of my stuff, a lot of the stuff that freaking is near and dear to me, originated in Japan. Japan is the shit.
It's funny. A friend of Angry Elephant of mine, Paul. You met him. He's a family friend of the channels. King Smith is going there very soon with his daughter because his daughter is born in Okinawa. I'm mistaken on that. So he wants to show. So
Wow.
I'm trying to convince him to bring me back a sword somehow, some way.
Oh.
If he gets arrested, I don't give a shit. He'd be okay in Japan jail.
Yeah,
You see a big black short guy like, we don't want him. Arigato. Like,
what we need to do is it this year or next year? Isn't Star Wars Celebration in Japan, Tokyo this year?
I think it's this
Tokyo,
year.
Japan.
Oh, you buying me a ticket to go there with you? Thanks, Elf.
Yeah. Okay.
Red might kill you, but
here's my bucket list.
You taking one for the team.
Thanks, bud. If I'm going to Japan, I'm taking a picture with a mobile suit gunner that had its lifestyle and say I was there. I was on it.
Hold on. Let me go check my finances. I'll be right back. Maybe I can swing this. Maybe I can't. I'll be right back.
You only got to go to one place. Dear, are we going?
No. As long as you have a big luggage,
as long as you have a big luggage.
He's talking with the financial.
The boss, his wife.
All you need is a custom-made luggage. You can hide it in the back part of the luggage. When they scan them, they won't see the body.
But
you know what I'm talking about? It's special-made luggage. So when we go to the scanner, it will see the clothes but won't see the body. As long as you hide underneath the luggage.
What do you think? I'm that skinny? I'm a fat ass little Greek. I might be short, but I'm not that skinny.
Hey, people are looking for all way to cheat the system.
But let's get back on topic too. Robert C, see if you can get me my ticket. All right on him. Let me get my notes back up here.
And that's
where do we live?
The thing is,
key differences.
Voltron and all these other products that were coming from Japan, you have to find that there's so much that pouring out. throughout the '80s, we will be deceived that we're watching cartoon, not like we were watching the anime, and it was kind of like, wait a minute, what did American really produce? Because when you start comparing notes and start looking at who did what, then you start to like, wait a minute, we've been lied to the whole time, and that's the issue.
And
Now, when
you
it
I
know,
don't know if I would say that. I mean, look, I mean, obviously there's for legal reasons and whatnot. Again, if they buy a property, right, and they rename it and everything, I don't have to say they're lying to us. I just think it's we just don't know about the origin things, and most of us don't ask. And again, and keep in mind when we were kids, we weren't asking what was the original. At least I didn't. I didn't know Speed Racer was Maka Go-Go. I mean, what kid would ask? All they said, look, this looks cool, and I'm going to watch it. So again, a lot of this stuff wasn't, again, we lived in a non-internet world. So again, it's just like wrestling. The reason why you were able to have territories was because, again, there was no internet.
that is true.
And you were able to carry the story on and have the territories. I didn't even know who Ric Flair was until Eric introduced me to NWA. In the Saturday night WTBS, I would be at his house every week, and we would be watching 605 TBS to watch. I was like, who's Ric Flair? I don't know. I'm a Hulkamaniac. Bob Backlund. That was all the wrestling that I knew. I think I knew Harley Race a little bit because, again, he kind of floated around. And when the WWF was part of the National Wrestling Alliance at the time, you kind of knew a little bit. But a lot of these guys I didn't know.
And you got
So
the same terminology to the anime part because that's what's going on. Territory.
right. Well, I'm saying, but in this connected world, like I said, that's why I was going back to like -1. I think people can handle if you just give us the product. Yes, you dub it into English if you must. But even still, I remember being with Eric, and we would just watch a lot of these like Appleseed and whatnot. They were just, but they were English subtitle.
Appleseed, another
And we
anime
didn't
part.
mind. I mean, it was what it was. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. Like, you didn't have to butcher it up to make it popular for us. It was good enough. And I think in this connected world, I think it's okay to just let the product sit on its own. And kids either gonna like it or they're not gonna like it or whatever. But I don't think you gotta, these days, I don't think you have to do as much. But the only thing I would say is this, and this I don't think is going to be changing anytime soon. We forget, though, that in Asia and in Europe, they have very different standards when it comes to censorship.
They don't even have censors. Let's be honest.
Well, my point. I mean, Speed Racer was very violent. I mean, guys getting capped off with machine gun fire. I mean, capped off.
Yeah.
You never saw Bugs Bunny. As much as Yosemite Sam tried to delete Bugs Bunny, he never landed a shot.
No.
You talk about Speed Racer where you mount your racing car with machine gun, all type of weapon, and y'all.
Yeah, but I'm saying, guys are getting taken out. I mean, literally, like you had like armies of guys coming in and they're getting clipped off, like one right after the other. I mean, America, I don't think will ever allow, at least certainly for children. Nobody dies. That's why I said when Transformers the movie came out, kids were traumatized because on the seasons 1 and 2, nobody died. You might have got hurt, but you didn't die. You carry off someone wounded. We'll get you next time. The opening scene from Transformers the movie, Ironhide gets taken out. Blown up.
Most of the season 1, season 2 Transformers were done. Prime, Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
He dies. That was the thing that traumatized
kids were literally in therapy.
Yeah.
So I just so again, you're gonna have to doctor some stuff up if the Japanese properties are gonna have, and a lot of those series had a lot of sexual content. Let's not get twisted either.
I give you
a lot of what we would call here a lot of bestiality, because you would have like aliens, you would have like these alien furry dudes sleeping with humanoid women and stuff like that. I was like, that's
Dragon Ball Z had a lot of curses. They was like, "F you," and you
Yep.
actually see the blood. You seen blood.
yeah. But I'm
Those
just saying, but I'm saying the sex and the violence that was common parlance in Japanese anime, and I don't even know what it is today. It might be less
Shout out to
or
God
most of
of
it today.
War.
But
Shout
I'm
out
just
to
saying, but that's not going to
Grand Theft
fly. So you're
Auto.
going to have to take some stuff out if you don't want FCC or some other property coming after you. That's all I'm saying. If you want it over the
I'll give you a
airwaves.
great example here, guys. Hang on a second. You had Digimon; they're bathing all together in a bathhouse. In the anime Japanese version, they are actually naked. But in the American version, they have them covered up with a bathing suit. They had to do that.
No axe.
Well, if you're going, so El, are we going to our trip? You got me?
Oh no! I looked at the Magic 8 Ball, which is my financial advisor. It says prospects not happening. Doesn't look
Figured that. I
good.
figured that.
I remember that. Don't worry.
Oh,
Hey, look.
I'm gonna meet you in person eventually. We have the
All
same
right.
best
Well,
friend.
we'll
Remember
be in
that.
person. I'm just saying it's not going to be in Tokyo, my friend.
I'll take a suitcase. I'll be in your suitcase. I'm okay with that.
but
I'm fat,
seriously,
but not that fat.
but seriously,
Actually, I am, but
this is
I'm
something
sorry.
that I had to point out a lot because looking at this conversation about Voltron, it showed a lot of aspect of why we're having an issue with American production when they're doing certain things. It's either too heavy, watered down to the point where when you start to get older, you start to look back, you start to wait a minute, do what I was watching? How come I didn't caught on to this? Like seriously, this is why right now they know already you cannot get any more new animation or anime product from Japan and watering down and because people are catching on already. You can't slow down the viewers that these people are getting over there, over the product over here.
Yeah. Well, plus I think there's just more mediums now. I mean, we're talking about most of the stuff that we grew up on again over FCC, over network television.
Hmm.
With the streaming services now, more people going to streaming. Now, again, I'm not saying that I don't know. Is there any regulation over like Netflix or these streaming platforms? Is there any? Do
Rob
they exist?
said that, right?
There's ratings.
I mean,
You
I mean, they
can
got
There's ratings, but there's nothing that you can't.
rating.
If you want to show something, as long as you show, if it's rated R, then
Yeah.
you're good with you watch it at your own risk. But FC again, we grew up in an FCC era.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think that those we're talking about 80s FCC regulations versus now on Netflix. Yeah, those are night and day.
Right, but I'm saying, but even now over network television, and I get it. People are transitioning more product. I mean, I'm watching the NFL playoffs.
Well,
It's
yeah,
on Amazon or
even
Netflix
when
now.
even
But I'm just
on
saying
but
that's a
stuff on
different
network
different
TV,
animal.
stuff on network TV is now doing the same thing that they should be doing in the first place. They're putting the agenda in your face. Even the advertisement, you can kind of look a little bit overboard. You're like, oh,
Yeah, but there's no. I mean, stuff is still there. There's no profanity on TV. Not the big.
not
Have
profanity.
you watched?
I'm saying profanity, nudity, violence. Violence is
No, hold
it's
on.
not.
I'm gonna push back on that
Hold on.
ball because hang on, we had a good example: Sons of Anarchy on FX. It was pornographic stuff and cursing.
That's cable. That's cable. That's not.
It's cable.
Well, I'm
That's
saying
always
network TV,
different.
Channel 2, ABC, NBC, CBS. Those are like the
They're still around.
Paramount. I'm talking about those. I'm saying those properties.
Local
They're
station.
still going to be bound by FCC regulations.
Local station you're referring to.
Local stations, but not these are national networks. They just they just have affiliates throughout the country. I'm saying in those platforms they still got to play by those rules. But if more of these properties move over into streaming services, which you pay for, or like a cable type of service that you pay for, then I think I think we'll get more of the the non-refined or non-altered product, because they're gonna say then it's like, look, you got to watch your kids in terms of what they watch or whatnot, and if you don't want them watching that, then
They show Disney it's no better. They shove it down your throat either way you like it.
Hang on, I have a question now. I want to add to this because this is where you're going. I want to hold on that thought because you're gonna add more to it. I'm gonna put a little seed in your little brain right now. So streaming, did it help Voltron? Did it hurt it? Did it bring new fans, or did it push more people away from it?
It did put a lot of new fans on the latest Voltron series,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
for those who grew up with it, had a lot of pushback on it. Those who never grew up on it must have jumped on it anyway because even right now, Netflix is trying to create a avenue for anime fans only. Well, they're doing that now, but well, I'm criticizing them like, okay, if you go this far, you might want to make a section like you did, like not like Funimation or Crunchyroll, but if you want to continue to pull in anime in on your streaming network, you might well have to build a separate network altogether only for anime purpose. Only because anime is a massive library by itself alone. Because if you want to go back from since the 70s to now and look at the library itself even beat up regular daytime TV library. When I say
Yeah.
beat it, I'm not talking about with a club. I'm talking about with a titanium baseball bat. It's kind of like, you out of here. We taking your spot. That's how bad it is. The amount of when I say it's a competition, it's one thing to create the best-selling manga. That was hard to do. And for that best-selling manga to go into production, it goes into an anime or live action, it's even harder as well. With production, kind of have the requirement or the tools to bring it to life where it should be. It's pure competition, and I hate to say it's all about perfection. Over here, it's not too much of perfection. As long as you can get it done and just shoot out and make some money off it, we good. And how
That's
many times
fast.
and how many times you call out, you watch something where you feel like the production's not so great. You saw this, you could have done better. A lot. That's how bad it is because if you want to go into the aspect of there's some ongoing anime series that's going on multiple seasons that will destroy daytime TV and take over their spot if they come over here. You talking about General Hospital, all the other crap that been going on for how many decades already? Since the 80s, One Life to Live, At the World Turn, General Hospital, The Love and the Restless, the terror that forces us people, we cannot change the channel. When we come home and you decide to change the channel, just know you have a glaring eye for your mom, then you know you touch that channel and you change, see what I do to your fingers. Am I right, Angry Elf?
I mean, yeah.
Everybody
But
Um,
knows you.
even those shows, good or bad, there was no profanity, there was no nudity, and
I
there was
know,
no
but
explicit
those
violence.
show was a do not change show. You come home, I want to. You want to do what again? Never mind.
I want to throw a little monkey wrench in this conversation really fast. Before I do that,
yeah.
Rob, you want to go next? Because I know you were sitting there quietly. Go ahead.
No, I was looking up. Someone said Merrill Hemingway was nude in an episode of Civil Wars, and I got distracted and I had to go search the old internet. To be like,
Oh,
wait, was that on network TV? Was that actually happen? Did I?
He said it was on
What did I miss?
ABC. I don't know, but even if it was, that's not the norm. Again, it's not like they're
No,
showing nudity all over network TV. So that might have been some. They
no.
might have been like, "Look, we're going to show it, and we'll just pay the $40,000 FCC fine and move
Yeah,
on."
exactly. But anyways, no. The standards. ah, I mean, we're basically talking about the transition from what Japan put out on their television and then what came over here. Of course it's going to be watered down. It was the 80s. We were the one thing that we had going in our favor was the fact that when Ronnie Reagan became president, the FCC regulations on what could be shown on network television for children changed. And one of the key things that stands out is go look at G.I. Joe. When they transitioned G.I. Joe to the what we know as G.I. Joe today, right? They had animated commercials advertising the Marvel Comics issues, and they were like, I don't know, 30, maybe 40-second animated shorts.
Mm.
And that was the precursor to what became G.I. Joe, the Real American Hero, what we
Right.
know as G.I. Joe. When these FCC regulations changed in the 80s and that they lasted until the early 90s, so about a decade plus, they were 30-minute advertisements for toys. And that's why every cartoon that pretty much came out had a toy line associated with it. I mean, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, Mask, Centurions. I'm pulling these references by looking around my freaking toy room because my stuff is nothing
All
but
over the place.
nostalgia. Yeah. I mean,
Well, it's interesting you talk about the early '80s because I remember. I know, David, you probably remember this. Remember the Benny Hill show
oh yeah.
and the Paul Hogan show? Very kind of risque for I guess the late '70s, early '80s. That stuff was out, but then I'm like, there's no way you could show that stuff today. I mean, it was very risque humor from those two platforms. And I'm the way I look at it now, and certainly in the PC world we live in now, I'm just like, I can't see how you could have got these guys off. There's no way you could show that stuff on TV today. So I don't think we've gotten looser with our standards. I think there's certain things that are still going to be off limits. And I just remember I grew up on Benny Hill. And Paul Hogan, maybe not as much. He came a little bit later, but certainly like 80, 81, 82. Yeah, Benny Hill was like, that was the closest thing we were going to get to, risque.
Wasn't Benny Hill British?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
but again,
yeah.
British TV, Europe in general, they just don't have as many hang-ups or reservations in terms of TV. I mean, Pete talks about on Greek TV, there's nudity in the TV shows and stuff. I mean, it's just a different standard over there. American, we're very bipolar when it comes to we're puritanical on one and pornographic on the other. We go to these extremes when it comes to this stuff. But other countries, they just don't care.
So Rob, you understand in Greece, where I'm originally from, Greece, my country. So America's my country, but you know what I'm trying to say is I'm flipping through the channel, so help my mom because she's not really tech savvy. Actually, she threw an iPhone in my head. Let's put it this way. That's how great technology she is. Fuck you, David. So anyway, as I'm flipping through the channels to help her out, because she doesn't know how to use those smart controllers. So you go, 1 minute is, they're just arguing. Next minute is porn. Next minute, porn back. I'm like, they're actually having sex on regular TV. Flip.
Don't forget, I spent 6.5+ years in Italy, so I know what I mean. Yeah,
that's right. You were watching dog porn with SCQ.
Yeah, after a certain hour, what was shown on TV changed, and it was akin to the old Skinamax. Remember back in the 80s and early 90s?
Cinemax, yep.
After a certain hours, Skinamax would turn. Yeah, it was
HBO After Dark. I think they had one also or something like that. It was like the Showtime After Dark. Yeah.
After a certain hour.
You know what's funny? As you're saying that, I said to you, I don't know if you heard me. He goes, "Oh yeah, like you and CQ are watching dog porn together."
There were BT After
Dark.
No.
We weren't watching dog porn together. CQ had house sat for me when I had to go to a school. I came back and he left me a DVD of dog porn. I don't know what happened to that DVD. I don't have it anymore.
You know what's funny? I asked him that. Did you really fucking do that? He told you?
Oh yeah, he came back. You're telling tales? Like, motherfucker, you did that to my place.
He doesn't remember. That's a fucked up part. I go, I don't remember doing that, but it sounds like me. He goes,
that was straight. Because I came back, turned on my TV and stuff. There's a disc in the freaking player. I hit play, and I'm like, oh my god, holy! And I'm like, sit there, CQ, what did you send me? What did you give me? And he goes, I got you, motherfucker.
When,
The good old days.
Mm-hmm.
when I asked him, he goes, I don't remember this. He's like mind fucked. Like I don't remember this. Like, oh, you did
Oh,
it.
that I'll be honest with you, that was before CQ got his brain rattled when he got his
Before he got shot.
you
Yeah,
know,
memory lost.
yes. So there's stuff, but yes. If I gosh, if I still had that DVD, I would send it to. Actually, I wouldn't send it. I would hand deliver it to him at his place, and be like, "Oh yeah, no, this is something we got to go down into the studio to watch. You can't watch this on the living
You know
room."
how you get him back. You go, yo, give it to his wife, and people are like,
Oh no!
yeah.
Oh no! No! No!
You'd
I
be
would
dead.
not do that to Jenny. No! 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 No!
I love her to death, but no, the reaction he's gonna get out of her. You're scared of her.
No! No! Because I will be dead. I won't make it out of that house alive.
But you gotta tell her, hey, yo, Jenny, honey, watch this after I leave.
Oh no! Well, then I won't be allowed back.
You better
No.
go now.
Oh, see,
Yeah, Wally's in here. Wally's been pretty silent. What's going on, Wally?
Wally, you're up, buddy. Go ahead. We got you guys something to say on this? Not the dog porn, but Voltron.
I mean, to be honest, y'all took this so much many angles from Voltron to whatever topic you're on now. I'm just like, let me just sit here and just wait and just see where this goes.
We've been all over the place tonight a little bit. Let's be honest here. We were talking about, you've been a perfect guest Thursday. Where we were talking about X-rated topic stuff, and I was thinking like, man, Robert would be perfect for this topic. He has personal experience with dog porn.
Once. It's not like I went to Tijuana and went and witnessed a donkey show.
Okay. Very disturbing.
You see, that's why I love Rob, because he has some weird stories.
Weird. These are normal to me.
That's my point. That was my point exactly. But anyway, let's get back on topic.
Baby, you're saying something, no one to hear you.
Turn your mic down.
My friend, I say Voltron was a triggering point of conversation because anyone who goes with Voltron and see what it is right now will have a lot of issues. There's tons of issues to point out because one storyline is it's not the same. There's been a lot of switch around going on. The characters almost got switched around to a certain degree. Some characters remain the same. Some characters get a little extra edge than the others. Then you're throwing out a bunch of monkey wrench into the storyline. It's kind of like you start to wonder who idea was it. Even though Mr. Bennett pointed out there were 52 episodes on the original Voltron series with only season one. Keyword, season one. But this Voltron that was on Netflix had 8 seasons spread out to 76 episodes. And some of the arc was okay, then some arcs feel like need to get redone. If you ask me. Because now that you look at Voltron and using it as a test subject to break down, and then now get that asking, what other childhood member are they going to slaughter without warning?
I mean, there's not many left. I mean, if we really want to go down the freaking the roster,
oh boy,
Netflix has already butchered Masters of the Universe. Michael Bay butchered Transformers.
Ooh.
The only one that really hasn't been butchered is G.I. Joe, but that's because that's Hasbro's cash cow right now. I mean,
but in a way, they did butcher the movie. The first 2 movies were pretty bad. Let's be honest here.
The first one was hurt a little bit. Second one got murdered by The Rock.
yeah, but see, here's the thing. Those happened, but they were like little speed bumps. They were only 2 movies. How many movies did Michael Bay do in his group?
Oh shit! Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's been what, 6, 7 Transformers movies?
6, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, they got marginally better, and then they got worse again, and whatever. But there's not too many franchises. The stuff that I would say right now that hasn't been touched yet, but that's probably because people are afraid to touch it, is properties like Mask or Centurions or
Oh, that is true.
I mean, they haven't touched those. Those have not been brought back. They've been teased,
No,
maybe brought back in comic
Max
book form.
and
Mask?
said and Centurion, you cannot bring that back. That give to the Japanese. Let the Japanese do that. Oh, Gemma hologram.
Gem and the Holograms? Oh, God, that was a horrible movie. I don't even think that freaking thing made back its remotely close to its budget. I mean, give a really good director, a really good science fiction director, Mask or Centurions, they could knock that out of the park, especially today.
With the CGI we have now, I think if we had a good director, a good writer, it'd probably be a movie of the year, hands down.
Correction.
But see,
Good director,
here's
good writer, and good production company.
yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. So, have you guys heard that they're in the works trying to bring a Masters of the Universe movie out? Right? It might be a Netflix thing, but I think they're trying to go for an actual theater release.
Another
Do you know the
release
direction
of
they're
He-Man?
going with it? Huh?
Another He-Man movie?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Okay, hold on.
but the direction
I didn't like 3 different versions of He-Man on Netflix already.
No, there's
two.
one.
No,
Two?
there's two.
I thought it was one.
There's a
three?
kids.
No, there's two.
There's two. There's a
There's
kids.
the classic version, and then there's the upgraded version that actually extended.
Yes. But the
Okay.
movie that they're trying to work on, the basic premise of the storyline is Adam is a orphan on Earth who has no recollection where he comes from, and then he slowly finds out that he is He-Man, and yeah.
No, I'm done.
If that's the movie
I'm
they're
done.
going for, I'm sorry. I'll go back to the Dolph Lundgren movie and watch that on repeat. I'll go watch Dolph
It wasn't
Lundgren.
really a
At
bad
least
movie. Really think about
I
it.
don't blame you for that one. I don't blame you for that one. That
No,
is it.
it-
Ooh,
the Dolph Lundgren freaking movie was good,
it's good. It was
especially
good.
because Frank Angela as Skeletor. Oh my gosh, he killed Skeletor. God, he knocked it out of the park.
I mean,
Silverhawk is back.
Frank Langella, yeah, back in the '87 movie, he was awesome as Skeletor.
No, this
Peter.
is what he's talking about. Hang on, let me
it's
put it
on
up.
the post.
There you go.
Silverhawk is back.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's back as a comic. I knew Thundercats was back, Transformers and GI Joe was back. I didn't know Silverhawks was back.
Oh,
I didn't hear
boy.
about that.
I didn't
That
hear about
makes
Silverhawks. No,
No.
I just picked up most of the Transformers and GI Joe stuff. I need to go back and sit down and read it.
You know how to
And
read?
this is,
I didn't know Silverhawks.
and this
It's
is my
on now,
thing.
Lady Nova.
And man, me and Wyatt were talking about this already before we came on the show that we might have to do a episode comparing manga to comic book because there are 2 different lanes. That
Oh yeah.
the lane there's no way you're gonna see that lane merge. It's never gonna merge because the way the difference on the manga is brutal. When it comes to comic book, there's too much reboot going on in comic books. I'm getting tired of. Way
I
too many.
wouldn't say it's like reboots. It's more so of they constantly just. It's like, okay, if this is if we're in what I know what last time I seen a DC comic was 52, and then they had a 53 or something like that in that notion. So it's like when you do a new series, that's pretty much, I guess, if you bring in a new writer, quote unquote. So
Well, now they got the multiverse, right? That's what they're calling everything now. It's
I mean, yeah, but that's just another.
That's
plot
due
in
to
the scheme of it all. I don't really care about
Spider-Man.
that.
They did that because of Spider-Man.
no, but there's a DC
Spider-Man.
multiverse. There's, I mean, everyone is on that multiverse. That's your rationale. You come up with something new. Oh, but this is, This is
Well,
Earth
yeah.
625 or something like that. They just
Well,
make it up.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, look, on one hand, it's like I have no problem with the whole multiverse thing. It's the thing is though, they have went so far and beyond with that. It's to the point you can't even catch up to what's what unless someone freaking tell you. And it's like, do you really need all these multiverses to be that deep?
Yeah.
I think they overdone the universe thing because MCU started it really well, did a great job with it, and is still running with it really pretty decent. They had a couple last couple movies flopped, let's be honest. But now everybody's trying to bank on them, from DC to Power Rangers to
No,
Power Rangers.
hold on. Power Rangers have been doing multiverse long before comic, because
Yeah,
they
they
be doing
did.
that.
they never mentioned it to now.
Well, I never heard Power Rangers doing multiverse, but okay.
No, the thing that they don't ever call it multiverse. You will see a last season version of Power Rangers do a guest cameo on the newest one, and they've been doing that for a while.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Okay, guest cameos. Those are like, if you really think about it, that's actually in sequence. Because hold up. Because if I'm not mistaken, Power Rangers SPD, that was the pre-life after from either Time Force or Galaxies.
Time Force.
Because the father was the original Ranger. That was the Blue Ranger's father. So yeah, no. That's why I'm like,
it was Time Force, SPD. Then later on, they did RPM. That was a whole completely different universe on that one. But they've been flirting with it, but not as deep like they did now. That's what I'm saying. So
if
now
that's the universe, and that's a problem in itself. Then that makes it worse.
Yeah, now they're rebooting the whole series from scratch. That's a different topic for a different show.
Yeah. Because if they end up saying that, yeah, we pulled the universe card, then yeah, they pretty much fucked it up in my mind. That's just
they are.
No, seriously, because think about what you're saying, right? If they call it a multiverse, right? Then the fact that you constantly keep doing these dinos, that just tells me that you're just rebooting the dinos things all over again completely. Because let's be honest, how much times I gotta keep seeing a T-Rex? Yeah, they all different, but I'm still seeing a T-Rex. Okay. So now you're telling me, these are just multiverses of themselves.
Maybe Dino Thunder. That's it. The dinosaurs are overkill. And don't get me wrong, I think they have a good place to call it. But
the Japanese version better than the American version. That's how I'm gonna call it, because they did it better over there. I watched some of the Japanese series.
They can color paint it however they want to, dimensions, however. I don't care.
But what I'm trying to say to you guys now is every series, every franchise has some type of universe or multiverse phantom gateway shit. Everything. From Mega Man to X-Men to Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat, you name it.
Wait. No. We're not gonna do that. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare do it. No.
It's one touch a nerve.
We're not touching Street Fighter. No.
Jackpot.
We're not doing Mortal Kombat neither. No. Well, actually, okay, technically that's technically fair. But Street Fighter, hell no. And not
what I'm trying to say is while everybody has a type of multiverse. Yeah. One shape, way, or form. Like, okay, let's go down in a circle. David, you agree or disagree? Yes or no? Yeah or nay?
Slightly agree, because Dragon Ball.
Okay, that's what I need to thank you.
That's fair. Dragon Ball's fair. I'm not gonna argue with that. They already shown time travel. Nay?
Yes, everybody's got a multiverse, though I think it's a crutch.
Okay, thank you. I agree with that. Mr. President, yeah or nay?
Yes.
I got 3 yeses. Okay, I'll let you vote too, Wally. Wally, yeah or nay?
You already know where I stand. Heck no. Almost majority-wise, as far as the most that you named, yes. There definitely are some out there. I'm not saying there are not. But to the degree that we're talking about, then look here.
I think it's been overdone, bro. Every series has it.
No. Say it again?
When I mention anime,
hang on. Give her Elf the floor for a second. Go ahead.
So the problem is, it all stems from DC and Marvel. right? In the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, both comic studios had Marvel had What If, DC had Elsewheres. And what they were is self-contained stories about like, oh, what if Peter Parker changed his underwear today? Would he, would things have been different? Or did Batman freaking, not punch Joker this afternoon? Would things be different? And these stories, but they would be like one comic, maybe two issues, and be self-contained. When um a few years back, these studios started like, oh, well, I can get away with doing this, that, and the other thing and creating these different characters. And they blew up and ran with it. And now everything is a multiversal freaking storyline, this, that, and the other thing. No, I'm sorry. It's been overblown, overdone. It's trash. It's time to move on to the next thing, which is better storytelling and
I mean, I'm not
giving
bothered
the
by it
audience
being
what they
quote
want.
unquote overdone. My problem
It
is
has
just
been.
the lackluster of how it's been done. The overdone part is nothing to me. I can care less about that. My thing is like,
Yeah.
because let's be honest, when you give one character a multiverse or a multitude of characters, you're gonna give them ultimately all of them because eventually that's how it all goes. Peter Parker was the prime example. You get multiple Peter Parkers or whatever other new characters of the Spider-Man mantra that picks up the title. That's just common sense. It is what
Right.
it is. I'm not worried about that part because at the end of the damn day, Madam Web is the key to it all, anyways. So that's just gonna be obvious.
And the movie was horrible, by the way.
Oh,
Sadly,
God. Hey.
sadly. But I
Yeah,
actually
but I
like
agree. I think
my only problem
some
was
of it's been overdone. Now, again, the Spider-Man movie, you brought the three Spider-Mans together. I thought that was nicely done. But
Yes.
Into the Spider-Verse, I thought it was overkill. I mean, it was just just infinite numbers of versions of Spider-Man from
I actually like
all.
that movie.
Yeah.
It was, but again, like when does it end? But I thought it was very. You kind of put a bow on it, and what I really liked about it was that it kind of, for Garfield especially, because I know he wasn't necessarily as well received as the other guys. I almost think it kind of redeemed his Spider-Man, being in that movie
Predicament.
with Toby Maguire. So it was a nice kind of like sentimental use of the multiverse theme. But where you go from here, the last Deadpool movie, now you got the TSA, and just all it's just this complexity now. It's like I said, it's just overdone.
So to that Paul, you have to watch the series to understand what's going on in the movies, and that kind of kills it for the average Joe who doesn't have time to watch all the
Yes.
series.
100%. Like I don't.
Because
Exactly.
When Doctor Strange 2 came out, I didn't watch WandaVision. I didn't watch any of that stuff, so I was totally in the dark. When I saw it the second time, I actually watched fortunately for YouTube, they have those primers. It's like what if you missed the series, this is what you need to know before you go and see Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. And it was a lot more enjoyable the second time once I knew what was going on. But I was totally in the dark, and like I said, I just don't have time to keep up with all the properties.
And
I
that's
have
the
enough
problem.
paid subscriptions as it is. I don't need to get
Yep.
Disney Plus just to watch or to keep up with stuff. And I think it takes away a little bit from the movie experience. Like, they left you with a cliffhanger of a movie, and you had to wait like a couple years before the next movie came out and whatnot, and you had something to look forward to. Now it's like the movies are basically continuations of the TV shows and vice versa. I mean, where's the build up? Where's the after the second the Infinity War movie, right? When everyone's
I get your point.
everybody's like, wow, it's like people were leaving the movie theater like shocked, and we just couldn't wait until Endgame came out, because it's like, where do we go from here? I mean, that's
I'm glad you
that's the
mentioned.
old
Hold on,
school movie
hold on.
making, right? The
When you did
cliffhanger left you
when you did the Avenger movie, the spin-off show they had was Agent of Shield. The Agent of Shield should have never end, because even though that probably be a B or C tier compared to the A tier of the Avenger, it had a continuation storyline that would made it kind of interesting. But for some apparent reason, the producer and the writer lost their creative edge on that because there are episode or season where you could have had a cameo with one of the Avengers of the show be a guest appearance on the Agent of Shield and laugh because the way it was going, it would look as if they're doing cleanup work for where the Avenger make a mistake on or whatever method they made on. They were doing thorough investigation, trying to clear whatever method needs to be made. But still, I couldn't understand how the Agent of Shield series did not have a lot of Camaro or you had the Black Panther show up one moment, you have Falcon show one moment. There were so many opportunities left open for major characters from the Marvel series or the Avengers series to show up. You don't have to be in multiple episodes, it could be one or two episodes. At least be
So
a
can I
guest
come into
appearance.
that?
And that never happened to this day. Am I wrong, Wally?
It's all right. So let me come into that one because here's my thing, right? I remember a little bit of it because I did end up falling off on it because of other things. But one thing I remembered about, Agents of Shield, right? It was definitely one of the. It may have been like the B tier subject, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'll say I'll keep it at B because let's be honest here, it's pretty much the overall connection of what Marvel is at the end of the damn day. These people, quote unquote, are pretty much the big time agencies that know everybody and everybody, even if they don't, post up amongst everybody. But the biggest thing though, you talking about like cameos and meetups. I think the only reason why they didn't pull the cameo part is because they didn't want to sell you anything and then make you believe early on like this was coming if they didn't know it was coming for sure. So for instance, let's say this would have been the right time to pull out Black Panther because if you look at the comics and you look at this, well, Black Panther should have been showed up then, technically. Well, here's the problem. Did we know that we were going to get Black Panther? Probably not.
I get your point. Because the way that storyline was going on Agent of Shield, you don't show a Black Panther, but there was some storyline. It had other characters who had an affinity with that particular subject matter, and they didn't show up at all.
We're coming close to our end of our hour, so we have a question in the chat. So I want to answer it. Elsewhere, or what was the Infinity World? Who wants to take that?
So it was actually both. I mean, it's pretty much both. Because on the Disney, not Disney, but on the DC series, they call it Infinite World. But at the same time, though, as far as the DC, the DC project that is extended from the original one that James Gunn's working on is called Elseworld, DC Elseworld project. So you can really take either one; it don't really matter. But as far as what DC's doing right now, is Elseworld.
Elseworlds has been DC's answer to What If since the late 80s or early 90s. And it started with Batman Gaslight, right? I think it was Gaslight. Yeah. Anyways, long story short is DC's alternate universe storylines. That was Elseworld. What was it? Infinity World?
Yeah.
I think that what they're talking about or referring to is
the event where all the DC heroes join up.
Yeah, in what ended up becoming Battle World, Infinity War, which was it was used as the no, I'm sorry, Secret Wars. Infinity War was with the battle with Thanos. Secret Wars was Marvel's where they brought a whole bunch of superheroes together, versing a whole bunch of villains. They brought it was the Beyonder who brought them to Battle World, and they fought. And then there was a sequel to that. There was another version of Secret Wars, which was completely more like spy games. And then about 5 years ago, Crisis on Infinity Earths. That is different. That was DC's answer of trying to wrangle in all their multiverse stuff they had, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, etc., and reset their universe.
But in
other words, the hot mess they created.
Yeah, And the problem is DC has had to do that more than once throughout their history where they've had to reset their timelines. Somebody mentioned 52 earlier. That
I
was an
did.
attempt to fix their timelines and kind of make it easier for new readers. DC DC's
Yeah,
always
and
had a problem
see,
with that.
let me add on to it because this is where I like because pretty much every single time you guys said, well, this was DC's answer, and and this next moment that this is DC answer, and that's the problem. Y'all keep like this is the thing that I have with comics, especially with DC and Marvel, is y'all always trying to answer what the next person does. Stop that shit, please. Just stop it. It just stop it, please. It makes it so much more easier if you just stop it. Because this is the thing I always say to myself, right? How does Marvel, that sold most of their properties away to Sony's, still out there, still performs decently better than DC that has all their properties, and yet y'all can't sell a decent project other than the typical Batman, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and then pretty much now that you pretty much stable it, Wonder Woman, which was a nice land. How did this work?
I mean, you're right. DC could have done a Justice League movie as early as the early 90s with Michael Keaton and Christopher Reeve if they put their stuff together, but they didn't.
DC's always playing catch up with Marvel. Let's be honest here, because they're behind and they're always being playing catch up, and that company has been in a hot mess ever since the beginning. Their leadership has been poor, poor, poor. In my opinion, they only have one or two good characters, maybe three: Batman, Green Arrow, maybe Superman towards the end. That's it.
As
But
far as
let's get a
movies?
in franchise in general. I was talking about
Oh,
my personal opinion. But let's get our final thoughts. Let's get Black David, Elf, Paul, and Wally in that order. All right, Black David, go ahead.
Okay. What is my final
Oh,
thought
before you go,
on it?
so everybody knows we're gonna have one little announcement before right after our final thoughts. So stay tuned.
Now, what is my view about Voltron? I'll say Voltron was my childhood cartoon slash anime, which is actually anime. It was done better back in the day. The latest ones, I feel like need to be redone all over again, but this time without all the wokeism or the Easter egg and done properly. Flush out the character properly. But other than that, this is a concept that lets you not look deeper to what we are talking about, seeing our childhood cartoon or anime brought back to present time, whereby either they get butchered or bastardized or rape, as I will call it. But that needs to stop because it's kind of hard for us to talk about sharing it with our kid. Like, yo, do what I want to watch when I was growing up. They got a new version and want to share with you. And then when the time you watch it together, you're like, I'm sorry, you're not supposed to see that. I'm not trying to have that moment. Like, come on, really? I had to move to another country and trust their production company not to give us those type of, woohoo, we got a surprise for you. But other than that, it's a great conversation. I'm glad we went into depth because it give us future topic for future show that we can look into because this right here is another example why we get sick and tired of American production company. They keep bushing, chopping it up, bastardize, watering down, dumbing it down. And like that needs to stop. That's my view. Other than that, I enjoy this show. This is a great topic, and I hope we do way more of the type of discussion on certain things that we have an issue with. All right. Thank you, Peter, for causing trouble.
Voltron. That is absolutely nostalgia. It brings me back to being a kid. I mean, even now, just thinking about it, I can hear that opening theme in my head. You know, Voltron. That is one of that's a core piece of my heart. I mean, growing up, anytime someone brought up something about, hey, there's a new Voltron this or new Voltron that, I at least went and checked it out. And the only one that was worth a while was that Netflix series that came out about 5-6 years ago, and yeah, I will tell you this. This is one thing we have not talked about yet. Um, Harvey Keitel, the former Superman, is working on a Voltron movie, and if Henry Cavill is, when I say Harvey something, Henry Cavill is working on something, I got a little bit of faith. But he's supposedly involved with a Voltron movie coming out near future. I'm there for it. I'll be there day one. So go Voltron Force.
Honestly, I'm gonna push back on some of this narrative I'm in hearing. I certainly appreciate the sentiments, especially for the diehards. I consider myself maybe a casual plus when it comes to a lot of these topics. I'm gonna say shout out to those who took the initiative to bring these properties over to the U.S. I mean, the one thing we saw tonight clearly, there were a ton of these anime series, these mecha series that were basically put out for 1 year and left on the anime floor, not to be picked up again unless somebody from the US or some other place came over and dusted them off. Nobody would even care about these series if these US based companies didn't come into Power Rangers. We wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be talking about them. We wouldn't be going to Comic-Con and meeting these people if it wasn't for these people coming over and doing something with the properties when the Japanese were done with it. So I got to give these guys credit. Sandy Frank, who went over to Japan, bought Battle of Planets, got the deal to get it done. Yes, was it hokey the way they did it compared to the Gotcha Man series? Yeah, but again, nobody would be even talking about it unless he did what he did. So again, I appreciate people wanting to see the pure, unadulterated form of these series, and again, and Voltron certainly notwithstanding. But again, it was one season, guys. And it was two separate series. They weren't even. It's wrong to even call them Voltrons. It's wrong. It's two different TV shows that, again, as I said earlier, and I'll still stand on this. They used the same formula for the most part in terms of how each one of these shows ended. It became very repetitive in terms of the formula, how the shows ended. Form laser sword, slice the guy up. Game over, on to the next one. All right. So again, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Shout out to, again, these American production companies that brought them over, even though they might not have been to your liking. But again, we wouldn't be having this conversation if those guys didn't do that. So I salute those guys, but hopefully with everything becoming more global, with YouTube and all the connections, we can see more unadulterated properties, especially in the streaming services, where you can have them as is, put the subtitles at the bottom, keep them as they are, and then let people enjoy those. But I'm not gonna desecrate or denigrate what these guys did back in the day, because what other option did you have at the time, and who had the guts or the balls to go and do what they did here? So shout out to those guys. Enjoy the Voltron series. Again, got a little repetitive, but a good product as many others. But again, still to this day, Battle of the Planets, aka Gotcha Man, was still my favorite anime series of all time, and I think one of the better ports that I've seen of all time. So that's all I got.
Wally, you're up.
Man, what can I say about Voltron? It's pretty much a mixture of a couple of things put together. Literally, a couple of things put together. I mean, literally. I can't put my names on most of them, but Transformer for one, in a sense. Power Rangers for another one, in a sense. Just saying. Mostly Power Rangers. But hey, look, I'm not against it. Pretty good stuff. Literally, I have, thank goodness for myself, I have not seen the last version of the Voltron that they did, and for one reason only. Have you not looked at that new logo that they had? That told me everything right then and there. That was gonna be trash. Yeah, those are gonna be trash. That's all I gotta say right there. And plus, for as far as when it comes to other topics that we talked about, I'll say it like this: look, in most cases, there is going to be always another version that everyone can create of another character, aka a multiverse. But even in that sense, I'll say this, and I'll say this very profound. Most of these multiverse, you just got to make it make sense. Because if not, you just don't do it. Because personally, look, I love a multiverse story. I love any type of multiverse story you sell me. Almost any of them. But for the Lord of Christ, if you're going to do it, make sure you actually do it right, bastards. I'm out. I'm just gonna be straight on that one. You just gotta do it right.
You were holding on to that for a long time. Wow. You were holding on to that one for a long time.
When you have to see one of these damn stories, and then you have to sit there and you say to yourself, you know, here's another one. There goes another one. There goes another one. There goes another one. And you just want to just punch the damn screen, but you know you got to break your TV at the same time. So it's like, fall back. Just fall
You're
back.
violent.
No, Wale.
You only wish you only.
He got a point
All right.
because how you think some big fans feeling it? This is what I've been talking about. People are having an issue when they see that iconic program that they grew up with getting destroyed. So while they represent the anger of the diehard fan who do have a problem, who cannot hold back, they're like, if you know you're not gonna do it justice, why do you do it in the first place? Like, you
All
have
right.
Forget comic books. Let's talk about anime. Netflix, stop, please. Stop.
All right.
Man.
Relax. Whew. All right, let me go over the schedule and make my announcement. All right. So tomorrow we are having a special guest on the gray area, Army Green Beret, one of your guys. We know him as Mandalorian, but Mandrell. But I know him as Carlos. But tomorrow he's going to tell us his story. Shut up.
You put it up his governments and everything.
I just said his first thing. I didn't say everything else.
Well,
but he will be telling his story tomorrow on the gray area. Now on Wednesday, yes, you heard me right. On Wednesday is our premiere episode of Anime Unlock with Black David and Wally. Yes, I won't be there for once. Don't miss my face too much, guys. Then on Thursday, I'll be back causing more trouble like I always do as it goes to Sparta. It will be shut up over there. We'll be talking about the unspoken rule why women can body shame a man but not vice versa. Yeah. And I'm going to call Ray, see if he wants to join this episode.
Lord have mercy. EJN. Yeah, I dropped that down. I'll take a look at that.
Elf Faith when you mentioned that title. You see the facial expression you made. He was like,
I ain't touching that one.
He's not joining that episode. I already know that. So next Saturday, we'll be talking about paper versus screen, the movie versus the book.
Ooh.
Oh Lord.
The warfare of all warfares.
You better limit that one. You better pick a couple of movies versus books. We could be on this one until like Tuesday.
Are you free next Saturday?
Can be.
All right. You know that will be an argument because there are so many that will fall in the battlefield.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can even go further. Books, movies, and the visual image of why it was made. Add that to the keys. Because trust me, Hunger Games, do you know why that was made? Do you know what that was the image of?
Whoa. Hold it for next week.
Whew.
Hold it for next week. So, except that. Like David, anything you guys say?
I would say the first episode of Anime Unlock, we will do our best, but the second and the few episodes, we might go a little too deep because me and Wally were bumping. Now, say we bump, we'll put our head together. If you find out, we might need another team member on the anime side with us. We're not sure who we can bring in, but
You are welcome to bring whoever it is, your show.
I know.
Hey, look, at this point,
Jedi Mike.
the episodes that is already presetted for us, these are just throw it to the wall and have fun. It's just nothing.
It's a precursor. I'm just helping you guys out to get you started.
I
So
know.
anyway,
As I look at that, just look
Elf,
at this.
you got something else?
Wall.
Join me Tuesday night with Mike, Mad Mike, because CQ's going off on another premiere.
Of course, I'm gonna
WTF
get you
Nation
again.
Radio, Pop Culture Warrior, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Join us.
Guys, make sure you hit a like, share, subscribe on our friends at Pop Culture Warrior because they're our best friends. They join us all the time. So get some love on that side.
Absolutely.
Paul, Mr. President.
I'm good, sir. Good discussion tonight. Looking forward to the interview tomorrow with Mandrell. Looking forward to it.
All right. Wally Conley now. Anything else you want to say before I close the show out?
Honestly,
he was holding on to that, man. I'm just saying.
If I get any more,
please don't make me angry.
It's just more nukes at this point. It's just more nukes. I'm good.
All right, guys. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.